we began to cross the Gulf of Kutch, and we were heading directly towards Sir Creek, which is the Pakistan border. And so we kept sailing. This till 31st evening, we are still sailing. We are now about only 50 nautical miles from the Pakistan border. Now this area has got a lot of fishing trawlers, as you know. So they began to notice this very strange looking boat heading directly in the direction of Pakistan. So I think channel 16 is the open channel, right? So on channel 6 or 16? So on 16, yeah, so on channel 16 we can hear all the fishing boats chattering amongst each other, first in Gujarati and then in Hindi, calling the the Coast Guard and saying that there is this very suspicious looking ship heading straight for Pakistan. In fact, to use their language, they said कि ये तो पर्दा वाला पाकिस्तानी जहाज चल रहा है, माल भर के ले जा रहा है. And the Coast Guard just wouldn't respond. So they began to get quite suspicious, and quite soon we had a small flotilla of 8 fishing vessels following us. So here we are, by now 40 nautical miles from the border. There's us going at about 3 knots. They're not that fast, 3-4 knots. And this flotilla of these ships heading straight for the border, and the other guys getting increasingly hysterical with their requests to the Indian Coast Guard to do something about this Parda Wala ship. And all our attempts to explain to them that this is a 2,000-year-old design and all that fell flat. In fact, their leader told us straight in our face that अरे हमारा जहाज तो 15 साल ही चलता है, आपका 2000 कैसे चला? So we were clearly not being able to get through to them. But thankfully, what happens at this stage is that the Indian Navy came online and explained what was that, they didn't explain too much. They basically said that this is a legally correct ship and that these fishing vessels should leave us alone. So they left us alone and they went off their own way. So at about the New Year's moment, we were 30 nautical miles from Sir Creek and completely alone and still sailing the wrong way because the wind is still from the west. So at this point we thought that it was a bit too dangerous to be heading straight into Pakistani territory. So we had to do something. But remember, the wind is still blowing from the west. So we turned the ship around and now began to go due south. That's still right angle to the wind, but at least it's not heading into Pakistani territorial waters. So we went to sleep that night quite depressed, and of course, at least some of us used to sleep on the deck. This doesn't have any cabin, it's got a deck and a hold. And so, depending on where you like it, you can sleep. So I used to sleep on the deck. And we went to sleep quite depressed because, we had sailed for 2.5 days and essentially made no progress. And now we were sailing directly back to Porbandar. Then at about 6 o'clock, just before dawn, I happened to get up. And I looked around, and we have a flag fluttering at the back, and I looked at it, and guess what? The wind had turned. It was now blowing from the northeast, exactly the direction we wanted. So I then woke up the entire crew, and we turned the ship due west, and off we went. So these were all, by the way, the Machi boats that we had. This is an image of all of these guys following us in the previous night. So this is the 1st of January 2026. That's us on the deck. That's Captain Vikas Shivran at the far end there. Hemant, the designer, ship designer, he's the person right in front. That's me in the white jacket, drawing something on the map, pretending that I know what I'm doing. And that's us heading off. You can see the sun is right behind us. So you can see we are sailing due west because the sun is clearly east of us. And yes, this one of the things we discovered is that the ships sail reasonably fast. If you get good wind, you get decent speed. You can go to 4 knots, sometimes in very good condition, even 5 knots. But it rolls a lot. as you can see from this image. So those are 30-degree rolls, but I didn't, but one or two of the crew did. Thankfully, I didn't get. We had trained for it, so it wasn't. I didn't get seasick. But you know, day after day of this rolling can get on you. By the way, this is not the worst of it. We did get occasionally 50-degree rolls, where you know you can imagine the sea is right below you, and you have to hold on to things that if you don't, it's literally fall off. And in fact, the sailor on the left who's doing the steering, his name is a young Odia sailor called Bariki. In little bit later, after this thing was done, we hit a wave, and you know, when it hits the wave hits the steering oar, you get the full jerk on your body. He got almost flung off the ship by the steering oar. So you have to be very careful while dealing with this. But nevertheless, we were making progress at this stage, and we got some good weather conditions as well. Here are some images. This is day 12. This is what you mean by fair winds and following seas. As you can see, the waves are behind us, pushing us along. There is this cloud system ahead of us, but it looks beautiful, and we are making 4 knots. So when you get fair winds and following seas, it doesn't roll you around as much as otherwise, as you can see. So it's one word to master. So you can see, I mean, there's a well-known saying, fair winds and following seas. And those of you who are motorized ships probably don't really know what that means. You have to be in one of these things to know. Because if the seas are following, you can make good speed. We were doing 4 knots or so here. But that weather system we headed into, of course, meant that it began raining shortly thereafter. So, as you know, there is a deck. You can either be in the deck or you can go into the hold. The hold is, of course, full of supplies. So there's very little space, but you can go there if you wish. But some part of the crew has to be always running this ship. This is not something you can. And we have 4-hour watches. So everybody got, certainly the people running the ship, the 4-5 people running the ship, had to be on the deck, wearing waterproofing, but you have to be there. And then, of course, we also got glassy seas sometimes. As you can see, it literally means glassy seas. Our sails, as you can see, are completely limp. There is no wind at all. And in fact, this is feared much more by sailors than actually storms, because under these circumstances, you have zero control over your boat. It's only when we have wind, you have some forward direction. Under these circumstances, you're just sitting there, and it doesn't mean you're still. There are currents. You are being blown along, perhaps in the wrong direction, but you have nothing you can do about it. So we also got periods of glassy seas as well. This is day 9. We have just crossed halfway point, and you can see the sails are up. They're giving us good 12-13 knot winds. So we are making about 3 knots. As you can see, this is the crew. This morning, sails are up. There's some adjustments being made, and you can see all around us as things are. This is how it looks over the side. Chit-chat on the boat. So you can see it's not a very large ship. It's 21 meters, but usable space is smaller than this stage, and 18 people.